Well, folks, it's that time to get into, the featured topic of the week. We want to really drill down on the topic of this week's conversation, and that is becoming a certified team-building wealth magnet. That's right. This week's discussion is talking about Step 9. Step 9 in the 10-step training program, becoming a certified team-building wealth magnet. Well, how does that happen? It's all about learning how to drive personal production while building and leading a team. And our discussion this evening is going to take you and your thought process about building an organization, I believe, to a new level. See, getting certified, well, we've talked about that. That's nothing more than just continuing to do money-making activities and working with your mentor in a training capacity until you've got a good handle on what's going on and you've produced the required number of sales. So getting certified is we don't have to go into a lot of conversation about that on this training. What we do need to discuss is really helping people understand that moving forward with your business and building and growing a large organization requires each individual to stick to the basics. Don't confuse this thing. Don't overcomplicate what we do in Renatus. Just simply stick to the basics. Stay in the business building mode. The business building mode is see the people, tell the story, build for events, and follow up. That's right, the 4 money-making activities. If you learn how to stay in the business building mode and share with your people and help your people understand how to stay in those 4 money-making activities, your business will thrive. If you or your team get outside of that, then unfortunately your business will die, and I don't want to see that. So let's get things moving here. Here's what I would advise you to do. You're going to make it happen. You're going to make it happen big. You've got to be the example for your team. That means you've got to personally prospect every single day. Every single day. Now, there's a lot of folks that overcomplicate that process, too. Listen, do you realize that if you simply just made 2 contacts a day, I don't care if that's the individual standing next to you at the gas pump, if they're in the bank line, if they're sitting next to you at a movie, theater, or if you're at a play or a charitable event, whether it's a PTA meeting or whether it's just you out taking a walk, if you will simply get good at extending the hand of fellowship and meeting individuals and make 2 contacts a day, 2 new friends a day, do you realize that with 2 new friends a day, you would have 60 new personal prospects in the pipeline every single month? 60 every single month. I mean, start to do the math on that. You're up to 720 new prospects every single year. Folks, you want to talk about how to accelerate the path from start to finish in this business? That's the way to do it. So personally prospect every single day. Now, involve your team as you go out there and personally prospect. In other words, don't do it alone. Prospecting and recruiting is a team sport. And if you will involve your team as you 3-foot contact individuals, as you make outbound prospecting calls to individuals, have a team member sitting right there with you, or else put them on a 3-way and have them just sit on mute so they can listen to the conversation and listen to what you say and how you say it. Involve your team as you make prospecting follow-up calls. It's not just enough to make outbound prospecting calls. No, you want to be able to do follow-up calls with them as well so that they can see the completeness of the process. How about taking them with you as you do one-on-one meetings? I can tell you, back in the good old days when I was actually a marketer before I stepped into running and building companies, I used to take individuals with me. I didn't like to have an empty seat in my car or an empty seat, at the booth. I wanted to take them with me. If I was having breakfast or lunch, then I was going to have someone come along. If I had a long drive, then I was going to have someone come with me. And I gave my people my time, and as I did, it really helped their business take off because they were able to see and experience the entire recruiting process. So if I had a one-on-one meeting going on, I made it a 2-on-1 meeting. If I was meeting a couple of folks, well, then I'd bring somebody with me, and that would help equal the numbers. But I took folks with me. Now, if you've got a mentor that will do that for you, man, I'm telling you, you got to give them a big old hug and thank them for the opportunity. If you don't have a mentor that will do that for you, then my advice is don't follow their example. You be the person that is ready to make the change. In other words, be the change you wish to see in the world. Be the change you wish to see in your business. If you're going to go out and make this thing happen, you be the mentor that everyone is envious of so that your team can cut the learning curve very, very quickly. The next thing is you do one-on-one follow-up meetings. You know, opportunity presentations are great, but listen, we got to teach our people follow-up as well. You know that more sales in this company and in any business are lost to an ineffective follow-up process than anything else, than any other one contributing factor. A lot of times it's because people just don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. They don't know what questions to ask or how to respond for questions that are asked of them. But if they come along with you to one-on-one follow-up meetings or to group follow-up meetings, they're going to get a good feel for it. One of the things I love about what Scott, Nancy, and Bob Tierney do out in the Chicago area is that every single week they have a group follow-up meeting. You know what's great about that? It's not only good for the guests, but it's especially great for the marketing team because every single week they're able to be in that meeting, see what a follow-up consists of, and they're able to see their leaders in the front of the room answering questions that are asked of them. I've found over the years that you generally only have about, 6 or 7 commonly asked questions. Most of the time, all of your prospects are going to stick to the basics. They're going to ask you those 6 or 7 common questions. Once you've learned how to answer those questions or respond to those questions, you're pretty bulletproof. So follow-up meetings. A very important part of the process as well. Involve your team as you take guests to group presentations, in other words, to large group opportunity meetings as well. And then meet with the guests after the group meeting. See, I used to circle the wagons. When I had too many guests at a presentation that I just couldn't, slide my chair over next to them and have a conversation, when there was 2 or 10 or 15 people in the room, I'd say, hey, listen, come on over here, you guys. Just grab a chair, circle around here, and I'd do what we called circle the wagon. And they would, form a circle around me so that I could answer questions, overcome objections, and help people see the wisdom in getting involved in our company in more of a group setting. I would invite my IMAs and their guests to be a part of that discussion. I'd invite my guests to be a part of that discussion, any of my independent training affiliates to be a part of that discussion, because I viewed every opportunity to interact with my team as a teaching moment. And I would encourage you as a good mentor to do the same thing. Involve your team as you close business with your guests. Don't be shy about asking for the order. Don't be shy about allowing your people to participate as you ask for the order so that they can see that it's not a difficult process at all. Holy smokes. There are so many times where I just went through the same routine over and over and over again. I would say to my prospect, I'd say, hey, listen, well, now that you've got all your questions answered, you've got a pretty good understanding of how this business works, do you see any reason why you wouldn't want to get started today? And then it's just the power of the pause. If all of a sudden they tell you that there are reasons why they wouldn't want to get started today, then you know exactly what objections still need to be overcome and what concerns you need to deal with. It's a beautiful question. You could also say, hey, listen, are you ready to start making money right now? What are they going to say to that? No, I don't want to make money. See, there's a few questions that I used to ask just to help drive the conversation towards a purchasing decision. How about involving your team as you enter orders for your guests? In other words, if they say, yeah, I want to sign up as an IMA and I want to get my Essentials course, well then, heck, make your team a part of that process as well. Now, obviously you don't want to have your team around if there's any shared sensitive information or personal information, but show them the process and how you open up the laptop and get into your business center and go to the order entry button and so forth and start entering the order. You can certainly slide the laptop around to your guest and have them fill out their personal information and their credentials and so forth, but it shows your team how to actually conduct order entry. How about this? Involve your team as you train new recruits. Imagine that. You know, this business is so much a part of teachers teaching teachers how to teach. That's really what it is. It's teachers teaching teachers how to teach. And if you get good at teaching those that will become the teachers, then you will see duplication in your organization, and you're going to tap into some huge overrides as time goes on as you help that team succeed. Plug your team into the system. As we talk about sticking to the basics, there's a few other things that I would certainly encourage you to do. And that is plug them into the system. There is a system in Renatus. Now, the system evolves itself around see the people, tell the story, build for events, and follow up. Over the years, I can tell you, I've been given a lot of credit for helping individuals to achieve seven-figure earnings in this industry. I don't like to take credit for that. I mean, sometimes, you know, you got to have a few bragging rights out there so people pay attention to you, but I feel a little bit uncomfortable about it. I'll tell you what I did. I did not, you know, push, drag, force those individuals to become successful. I mean, they had it inside them. All I did was created the environment. That was it. I created the environment where they could succeed. Whether they chose to succeed or fail was completely their decision. And you'll find that's very much true of the people that you involve. If they decide to succeed or fail, it is completely their decision. I didn't want to take credit for their success because I certainly wasn't going to take blame for their failure. But what I did do was create the environment for people to succeed, where they had weekly opportunity presentations, where they had follow-up meetings, where they had monthly Super Saturdays, where they had intensives and real estate workshops to plug their people into, where they had good training and good team environment and a good solid community to become a part of. That's what I created. But the leaders in the business really had to grow and emerge within that environment. And I give them full credit for what they did. So plug your team into the system. That system that's events, that's Super Saturdays, opportunity meetings, cash flow games, intensives. That's the system. And we drive a prospect and our marketers from event to event to event in that system. There's online training modules. And these founders webinars that we've been doing over the previous couple of months have provided a perfect platform for us to create the 10-step training system. These training modules will become a part of your business center within the next few weeks so you can plug your people into these trainings and systematize the whole process. But also plug your team into the founders webinar. Listen, we can boost attendance. We ought to have triple or quadruple the attendance on this founders webinar every single Monday night. If you get behind it, we'll continue to bring good content to this webinar so that people can really get what they need to help move their business forward. Plug them into the Founders webinar. Plug them into team calls. Plug them into weekly opportunity meetings and webinars and Super Saturday trainings and so much more. Drive your people and their guests from event to event to event, and you'll find your business prospers and grows. If you're not a good promoter, learn how to be a good promoter. Learn how to get your folks excited about attending the next event upcoming. Now, we talk about a system. I want to help do a little contrast and compare here. Everybody knows about McDonald's. Everyone around the world has heard about the success of the McDonald's training system. It is a system. You know, Ray Kroc was a genius. He was a genius as a franchisor because he understood that systems would make all the difference in the world about the success or failure of his business. He bought a failing store from the McDonald's brothers. So Ray Kroc did not change the name. He liked the name, but he bought a store from the McDonald's brothers, and then what he did is that he continued to move forward with acquiring more stores and then opening more stores under a franchise model, a model that back in those days was so new and so unheard of that, you know, it actually was met with an enormous amount of scrutiny at the time because the FTC wasn't sure whether franchising should be allowed to continue. As a matter of fact, they wanted to outlaw it as some form of an illegal pyramid scheme. Interesting how that happened, isn't it? Only passed the House by 11 votes of being legalized and becoming a permanent fixture. Now that industry does billions of dollars on an annual basis. You can't even think of where we'd be today were it not for franchising. But the great thing about that is that the franchises have a system, and McDonald's had a system. Ray Kroc wanted to make sure that the fries were the same in every store. He wanted to make sure that the meat was the same in every store, that trash collection was the same in every store, that toy distribution was the same in every store, that human resource and all of the things that go along with hiring, firing, and training were the same in every store. And as he continued to perfect his system, that system became more and more valuable to the people who participated in it. Today, McDonald's has a track record of success, a successful business model. that successful business model is going to cost you over $1 million to get involved with. Over $1 million. Now you're going to invest over $1 million, and you got to have a minimum down payment of $300,000, and that's cash, and that cash cannot be borrowed. So you can't borrow it from somebody else. This is not one of those opportunities where you can leverage someone else's money. You have to show that this came out of your bank account and that you had the resources to pull it together and make it happen. The next thing is that you've got to go to Hamburger University for training. Hamburger University consists of 9 to 18 months of 20 hours a week at your own expense. Can you imagine where our business would be if we could require the people that get involved with us in Renata as independent training affiliates, if we could require them to spend 9 to 18 months, 20 hours a week in training at their own expense? Oh my goodness, our business would explode. What we have is a little different model. We have an entrepreneurial-driven model. And entrepreneurs like to move at a little different pace. They like to move at their own pace. And because of that, we have to allow free agency to reign. That's why I say we create the environment where people can succeed, but it is solely up to them to choose to do so. I wish we could charge $1 million for our system. I wish we could, get people to pay their own expense and go through 9 to 18 months, 20 hours a week. Maybe one day we'll get there. For now, what we've got is we've got $125 application fee, and that's the only thing that's required for people to participate with us. If they had more skin in the game, then the exit out of our business wouldn't be so easy and so painless. I love the way McDonald's has their business structured, but it's a great example. The challenge is there's a huge barrier. Not many folks in this country can come up with $300,000 minimum down payment, pay for their 9 to 18 months worth of training and experience, and then, fork out over time over $1 million so that they can get, on average, a $75,000 a year job. That's it. Fork out all the money, all the expense, all the training, all the headache, all the investment, and you're looking at about a $75,000 a year return. In our business, for $125 and some sweat equity, people can blow that number out of the water. That's what's so powerful about the Renata's income opportunity. So never take it for granted. We are very much a systems-driven company, and systems-driven companies create success stories. So when we come to sticking to the basics, just a few more reminders. So we stick to the basics. That means you've got to help your team grow, help them invest in themselves through a daily regimen of personal development. Our business is so much about the process of becoming a better you, becoming a better marketer, becoming a better leader, becoming a better friend, becoming better in every area of your life. It is the process of becoming that makes the big difference in whether individuals really succeed or fail within our company and our opportunity. As we talk about that, I want to transition, because we opened up with the idea that I was going to show you how to really build a big honkin' team, how to create for yourself wealth that would almost be attracted to you, much like iron to a magnet. Well, to do so, we've got to learn a few things more. I want to share with you some of the attributes of the highest performers, individuals that I've worked with over the years. They have all of these things in common because these are the attributes that will really separate you from the classes, or should I say from the masses, so that you can dine with the classes. We want to move you into that next realm. What's the first thing? Belief. I have never met a leader that didn't believe in themselves or believe in their opportunity. If they had doubts and fears and concerns about either themselves and their ability to perform, or about the opportunity and the product offering that they were associated with, they would not succeed in that business. You must have a solidly grounded belief. Belief in yourself, belief in Renata, and belief in what we're doing as a company. The next thing is this, vision. You've got to have a vision. If you're going to be a strong, solid leader, you need a vision of where you're going in the future, and you've got to create a plan to help you get there. So I would encourage you to do that. Get a vision. Paint on the canvas of your mind a vision of the life you wish to lead, in the place you wish to lead it, with the people you wish to spend time with. You know, you'll find that as you really spend your time effectively dreaming and envisioning and planning, as you move towards those things by taking action, you'll see more and more of them materialize in your life, and that reality will unfold. Get a big vision. Adaptability. The only constant in life is change. You've heard that before. You're going to hear it again. The only constant in life is change. So if we're going to have change as a part of our life, then we need to learn how to embrace change and become adaptable. I can't even tell you how many times over the years I have reinvented myself. I mean, totally, completely reinvented myself. Now, I've used the same skill sets, the same foundational principles that led me to success in one opportunity over another, but adaptability is key. If you are not adaptive, if you are so resistant to change that just throws up a huge roadblock, then you're going to find yourself limited in your ability to move forward and enjoy success. Focus. You must learn to focus. You know, one of my blessings and my curse is that I get laser focused on something and I just flat don't deviate. I mean, I really don't. I say that I'm adaptable. I say that, you know, that I have certainly reinvented myself numerous times. I have. But when I focus on an opportunity, when I focus on a product offering, when I focus on helping people in a certain area, I can tell you that that focus, I put the blinders on, I develop myopia, my vision becomes narrowed, and I just push forward, push forward, push forward. If there's obstacles, if there's challenges, if there's issues, heavens, there could be a war breaking out on my left, and there could be, you know, a hurricane on my right. I wouldn't even know it existed because I'm focused on the objective ahead. You need to get laser focused in the same fashion. One thing that will help you develop that focus is this: passion. Passion. You have got to develop a deep down burning desire to succeed, a deep down passion for what we do. I tell people all the time, listen, man, get a dream, get a big dream, get a big vision of your future, get a big vision of who you can become. If you can't get a big dream, get a big cause. Turn Renatus into a cause where we can help individuals to succeed in their own lives and business. Become passionate about this business, and results will follow. Drive. You know, drive is one of those things that, again, creates motivation so that you continually push forward, overcoming any of the obstacles or challenges that are in your path. Skill set. You know, you'll find that in this business, ignorance on fire is a whole lot better than knowledge on ice. It is. But you'll also learn this, that if you develop the proper skill sets and you take the proper action, you'll get there a whole lot faster and you'll go a whole lot further and you'll make a whole lot more money. Refine those skill sets. Be it every Super Saturday training. Be it leadership trainings. Put yourself in a position where you can rub shoulders with the top leaders and top income earners in the company. Hang around successful people and glean words of wisdom from them so that you can continue to refine and hone the skill sets that will make you great. And then, of course, character. Over the years, I've met leaders who had tremendous skill sets, but no character. They were always short-term. Their reign did not last because eventually they were exposed for who they were and for their disingenuine motives. If you have skill sets and you have character, you can be a long-term influence for good in this company and in this world, and people will line up to follow you. See, people do not want to be pushed. They do not want to be forced, but people as a whole are looking to be led. Be the leader that they're looking for and develop solid character. Skill sets, that's what you can do. Character defines who you are. These are some of the attributes of the highest performers. Learn to develop those attributes. I can tell you, your business will thrive. Now, another thing that I think is important for you as an emerging leader in this business, as you're building and growing a team, is you've got to create the proper expectation for income. You're going to have peaks and valleys in this business. It's just the way that it is. It's not going to be one steady, easy, smooth ride to the top. Instead, there's going to be peaks and valleys. Let me give you a few examples. As your income rises, you will find that it will rise from peak to peak to peak. And as it moves from peak to peak to peak, the interesting thing is that you're also going to have valleys along the way. Now, let's say one month you just have an amazing month, because this business is a lot like farming. You plant the seeds, you plant the seeds, you plant the seeds, and then you harvest. Now, after you've harvested, you got to go back to planting the seeds. And then you plant the seeds, and then you plant the seeds, and then you harvest. As your business grows, what will happen is that you gather more independent training affiliates to work with you in the fields planting seeds, so you get duplication of effort. And that's the reason why, even though your income peaks and then drops into a valley, the next time you harvest, it rises because you've got a larger team to help you with the work. And then it drops into a valley. And then the next time you hit the peak, you make more money that month, and it's because you got more people in the field working to help you plant the seeds and conduct the harvest. I hope that makes sense, because over time what you will discover is that your income continues to go up and up and up. I can remember a young protege of mine years ago, Zane Hansen, I'll never forget. Zane came to me, he says, man, Bob, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. He says, I mean, I ought to have been a little more consistency. I'm a little depressed about this. I said, well, Zane, what's going on in your business? He said, well, 2 months ago, I made $85,000. Now, mind you, folks, this was a 23-year-old kid. 23-year-old kid. He says, I made $85,000  2 months ago. He said, last month, I only made 12. I mean, all I could do was look at him and say, oh, poor baby. I can't hardly believe, we're having this discussion. It cracked me up. I said, Zane, let me teach you about the peaks and valleys that are associated with this business. And sure enough, as he plugged in, because he started working with his team and he had more people in the field working with him, he was able to push his income from peak to peak to peak. So just keep that in mind. Now, here's something else that I think will be very important for you to lock onto, is that every single person has their first day with Renatus. We all have our first day. You're going to have your first day, your first week, your first month, just like any of the top income earners in the company have had. And as they have that first day, they need to push forward to their first peak. But don't, upon your first peak, become too overconfident. I see individuals who they start to make just a little bit of money in the business, and they think they can go in and fire their boss, and that may not be the time to do it, because that peak is going to be followed by a valley, right? So here's what I like to tell people, is that as you push forward past the first peak, and you're really realizing even into the second peak, you're still part-time in the business, because most of you will have a full-time job. Now, there are individuals that, are unemployed to begin with, or they're entrepreneurs in some way, so they just dive in and go full-time out of the gate. Most people are part-time. They're building their Renatus business on a part-time business or basis while they're continuing to move towards that day when they can fire their boss. I like to see individuals get to a point where they've really hit their third peak. So they've gone through this peak and valley thing, and they're on their third rise to the top. By then, I know they're solid. By then, I know they're repeat performers. By then, I also know that if they fire their boss, they're going to be making a whole lot more money in Renatus than they would be if they were working for somebody else. And then as time goes on, success becomes you, and you will see your business continue to thrive. See, the peaks and the valleys have always been a part of our compensation plan and a part of this business. One of the reasons why I placed a residual pay plan in conjunction with the direct sales pay plan is because I wanted to reduce the effect of the peaks and the valleys. And I wanted to help individuals have a long-term financial incentive to working with and building and growing a large organization. Peaks and valleys. Remember the lesson. And remember, don't quit your job too early, because there's nothing worse than building a business from desperation. You want to build your business from a position of strength. And if you can build effectively and make money part-time, when you go full-time, you're going to kill it. If you can't be successful on a part-time basis, going full-time isn't going to help you. It's just going to hurt. Something else I like to teach. As you're building and growing a large organization, you need to become familiar with the 5 phases of Renatus digression. You're going to see them. Remember how in this discussion we've already talked about the fact that what I do is I create the environment for people to succeed. Whether they choose to succeed or fail is their choice, not mine. But if they're on their way out, they always go out the same way. See, individuals start out in what we call the business building mode. That's where you're engaged constantly in the 5 money-making opportunities, the 5 money-making activities, if you will. See the people, tell the story, the 4 money-making activities. But see the people, tell the story, build for events, and follow up. Those are the activities you need to be involved with, right? Well, as you move forward in the 5 phases of Renatus digression, if individuals stay involved in business building, well, then they never go to phase 2, and they're always happy and they're always making money. But a lot of folks don't. They fall into management. Oh, yeah, they get 2 or 3 people on their team, and pretty quickly they're thinking, well, I need to spend all my time helping my people to succeed. Hey, you don't know if you got the right people yet. You know, you don't want to go into that. I would hate to ever place my livelihood in the hands of brand new folks that are unproven. You don't know what they're going to do yet. But people fall into that false sense of security. They fall into that trap of management, and they start to manage it, start to encourage their people to do the work, and encourage their people to fill their schedule, and encourage their people to invite guests to presentations. All the while, they're no longer doing those personal money-making activities that set the example for their people to follow. And the whole thing starts to unwind. What happens next? Well, they stay in management too long. Then they got to move into justification. Hey, man, you know what? I know my mentor's getting on me. I know my leaders are telling me I need to be doing something different. But, boy, I got a plan. I got a plan, and I know my plan's going to work. Either that or they decide to totally and completely reinvent the wheel. Rather than do what has proven to be successful, rather than do what others are continually doing to make money, they want to be different. They want to be the wild card. They want to go out and set and blaze the new trail. So they totally and completely get off track, and they reinvent the wheel. And it's all wrapped around justification. Boy, they're going to show everybody. They're justified. What happens next? Well, now they've been not making money for an extended period of time. They're really starting to deal with some financial stress in their life, and it certainly is not going to be their fault. No. They're going to blame everybody. This is where blame transference really starts to settle in. And as blame transference settles in, they blame the CEO of the company. That would be me. They blame customer care. They blame their leaders. They blame their mentor. They blame their team. They blame the economy. They blame the president. They blame alien beings from other planets. They blame everybody. Blame transference is always followed by this: exit. Exit. That's when people they kind of fade away. You know, you get together for a conversation with other community members, and you say, hey, you know what, I haven't seen John about the last 6, 7 months. Whatever happened to John? I say, well, you remember John. And he stopped inviting people to presentations, and he got into the management mode, and he started to justify, his new plan of action as he reinvented the wheel. And after that, he got real negative. He just started to, spew on everybody and blame everybody for his problems and his challenges. And come to think of it, he just kind of went away. See, those types of things will take place, and those individuals will be a part of your business. I can guarantee it as you build it big enough. The reason why I teach you this lesson is because what you've got to do is you've got to redirect people towards money-making activities. We got to catch them before they're gone. We got to catch them before they digress too far. And if we can catch them and we can wake them up, even if we got to slap them around a little bit, if we can wake them up to their full potential, and we can get them back on track, and they can stay focused on money-making activities, man, they'll be a long-term producer with the company. If you, on the other hand, see yourself moving forward into management and justification and blame, I share this with you so that you can catch yourself. Catch yourself, make the change, make the adjustment, get back on the horse, ride that thing again, and let's go out and make some great things happen. Here's a fantastic quote. I wish I knew who authored this to begin with, but it's one of those things that's been used in a lot of different industries and organizations over the years, and it's true. People change when the pain not to change is exceeded by the pain to change. That's when people change. because so many times they're so resistant to it. I would encourage you, don't wait for the pain to become so difficult, so pronounced, so self-aware that you're forced to make an adjustment. Make the change, whatever that might be, even if that means that it's going to require, some greater discipline, some greater hours work, the development of some better skill sets. Make the change, and your life will be so much better for it. Well, listen, folks, I could go on and on and on. I can tell you, in this business, there is so many opportunities, for you to succeed, for you to grow, for you to progress, for you to be the change you wish to see in the world. It all starts with you. If you're going to build and grow a large organization, listen to this training module over and over again until you really get it. Involve your team in money-making activities. Let them see you involved in money-making activities. You be the change. You be the example. And your life will take on such great meaning that your business will thrive, your organization will grow, and you will be one of our showcased leaders here on the Founders Webinar with people around the country wanting to know how you did it. Well, folks, until next time, this is your founder speaking to you from the wonderful snowy land of Utah, getting ready for our national conference. I want to wish you all safe travels. Good night, and God bless.
The